George, you got the best side house in Kansas. Everybody's talking about it.
Thank you, Mr. Beeler. I guess they like my flowers blooming in the snow.
The ladies sure do.
And the ladies like my pillowcases, see?
Yeah, very fancy.
Made out of nothing but bolton cloth. I painted on the wild roses myself.
The fancy stuff is fine, George, but this is the toughest house in the whole region, besides.
I liked building it.
George, you're not sorry you came out and claimed this land.
Well, I'm getting to love the prairie, Mr. Beeler.
You're different from what you was.
Am I? It's the land, I guess. Say, did you ever see how it's kind of shaped like a dome out here?
No. Yeah, you're right.
Well, that dome-shaped part means that there's treasure underneath.
Gold?
Maybe gold, but I think better than that. Oil.
That black, smelly stuff.
Treasure, Mr. Beeler. Wait and see.
Well, George, I'm glad you're happier. See, I was right. A man can settle down out here, make his dreams come true. A house, security, that's all he needs. Right, George?
A man could settle here and be happy, Mr. Beeler. That's what you said.
George, it's what I believe.
Some men, maybe. Not me.
Not you. You are settled.
But my fancy pillowcases and my garden on the roof and my crops, sure. But not with my dreams.
Your dreams, George?
I got a dream, Mr. Beeler, and it won't stay put out here.
George, I'm glad to hear it.
I thought you'd be disappointed.
I'm glad to hear you got a dream, a goal. I didn't think you did.
Hell, I didn't for a while, or else I lost it.
As long as it's practical. Dreams have to be practical, too. What is his dream, George?
Mr. Beeler, a long time ago,
Well, what about a long time ago?
Never mind. That was a long time ago. My dream, well, I love the earth. Oh, I want to live tending it and making things grow. But out here on the prairie, everything, storm, snow, sun, well, they're against you.
So?
Well, Mr. Beeler, I want a greenhouse of my own in a climate where things can grow easy. That's my dream.
Well, that's sound. Practical. Where?
Iowa, I think.
It's milder there.
I'd get rid of this property here, or mortgage it, move as soon as I can.
George, I'd say that's a worthwhile dream.
Oh, I used to have a bigger one, of helping people, black people. That dream's gone. I figure if I can make a living at what I like to do, that's big enough dream for me, my kind.
George, you're a sensible fella. Down to earth.
Maybe that's right where he wants me.
Who wants you, George?
God, Mr. Beeler. God.
Stories of Great Christians. From the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute, we're bringing you Chapter 9 of God's Ebony Scientist, the story of George Washington Carver.
After the door to Harlan University closed in my face, because my face was black, I drew tight within myself and didn't let anybody, even God, get close.
You did something else, Professor Carver. Something worse than that.
I let my dream die out. Moving out to the Kansas prairie, I built the best sod house for miles around, raised successful crops, and began thinking that all I wanted out of life was to earn a living and grow green things. Deciding that Kansas was too hard a place for farming, I mortgaged my acreage and traveled to the state of Iowa in search of a little place where I could have my own greenhouse.
Professor, how would you evaluate yourself at this time?
Oh, I was a young fool, just turned 20. I'd given up my dream of serving my Christ by helping my own people. I was happy with a second-rate dream of earning my own living selfishly. When I got to Iowa, I stopped in a lot of towns along the way and finally came to Winterset.
Ah, what for you stay in Winterset? It's a miserable town. Every year almost eaten up with grasshoppers. Old man Schultz, he knows. And the Schultz Hotel is no better than the rest of the town.
Things will grow here. Climate's mild.
Ah, grasshopper, father, yes. In 73, 74, 76, they sound like a roaring waterfall, so they come and eat.
But this is 88. You haven't had grasshoppers in 12 years.
It's possible they sharpen their little teeth for what you grow, my boy.
Oh, I'll worry about that. You did say you need a good cook at your hotel?
Yeah, but only until my son Schultz returns, if he should.
Well, I can do the job.
You cook sauerbraten?
Sure.
Corned beef? Tender?
I cook anything.
Well, it's not an easy town. Hard work is the thing. Work. To keep ahead of the little grasshoppers.
Mr. Schultz, I can work as hard as the rest of them. Show me an apron, and I'll get busy on tonight's corned beef.
Well, I take a chance.
You, Carver. Hey there, cook.
Huh? You calling me?
Gentleman in the lobby to see you.
See me?
Better hustle it up. A big gentleman. Powerful sporty dresser. Hurry up, he's waiting.
I'm coming. Have to wash this old grease off my hands.
Oh, don't bother about that, George.
What? Good afternoon, sir.
Don't stop your work at all. George, my name's Milholland.
How do, sir? I'm George Washington Carver.
Yeah, I know. The pastor told me I'd find you out here.
Pastor?
Up at the church. Methodist church where you went last Sunday.
Oh, look at this kitchen. This kitchen isn't any place for company. There's the lobby.
Oh, and I don't mind that, George. I stopped by to ask you to visit me.
Oh?
My wife and I. We'd like to get acquainted with you. You must get pretty lonely sometimes.
Me?
Don't know many people in Winterset, do you?
No, sir, I don't.
Well, we'd like to have you over at our house some evening.
Your house?
Well, will you?
Why, yes, sir. Yes, sir, of course, Mr. Milholland.
Tell you the truth, George. You see, my wife has her reasons. Now, she leads a choir down at the Methodist church, and she heard you singing with the choir last Sunday.
Oh, that was awful. I messed up your service singing with them like that.
Oh, you didn't know? My wife's a musician. She's trained abroad. She knows a good voice when she hears one. How about it, George? How about it? How about this evening? Share a good meal and some good music with us.
Thank you, Mrs. Milholland.
You liked it, George?
Oh, it was lovely.
Tell me, George, when I was playing, what were you thinking about?
I wasn't thinking thoughts so much as I was seeing pictures.
Pictures? Tell me, George.
When you were playing, I saw hills. These were hills I thought I'd forgotten about. They were the Ozark Hills.
Anything else, George?
Oh, and I heard voices, too. They were saying, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from which cometh my strength. I thought I'd forgotten about these voices, too.
George, come here and sing for me.
I don't know if I can. I haven't sung in a long time.
You sang in church the other Sunday.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Well, you were singing in the hotel kitchen the other day.
Oh, yes, but, well...
Here, sing this. Do you know it?
Do I know it?
Then, here, sit beside me here. I'll play. You sing.
crucified, my Lord. Were you there when they crucified my
Lord? George, you made my wife very happy tonight. Her soul's starved for music. And working with that church choir doesn't help.
Oh, Harry, they try.
Yeah, they're very trying.
You don't know what this music did to me. It made me think thoughts I thought were buried.
Buried under old man Schultz's sauerbraten?
Yes, guess so.
George, tell us, where do you come from? What have you done? You weren't always a cook.
Well,
And you aren't always gonna be either.
It's been a long time since I talked about myself. I'd
You're
rather...
a boy with dreams, George. I can see that. So tell us about him.
Mrs. Milholland, ma'am, Mr. Milholland, sir, I guess you might say it all begins back in a little town called Neosho, or even before that on the Carver's farm. But really, in a way, it starts in a place called Highland University.
Thank you, George. Thank you so much. I'm glad you told us.
Oh, I'd like to go straight up to Highland University and really
Harry,
tell them a thing.
please.
I feel so much better. All of a sudden, lighter.
Good. And while you're in a good mood, I'm going to make a confession to you.
Confession?
You're not the only one who has secrets. I paint.
Well, so do I.
I thought so. Come here, let's go in the living room. I've got a lot of paintings in the corner of the living room behind the screen. I'll put on the light.
Oh, here you are, my dear.
Now, you promise to tell me exactly what you think of them, one artist to another.
I'll do my best,
Oh,
ma'am.
there's the light. Thanks, Harry.
Terrible. Oh, this is terrible.
Why, George,
Look what you've done.
I knew they weren't very good, but...
Such a pity. Just thrown down, not washed out at all.
What are you looking at, George? Well, here are my paintings. Don't bother about those old brushes.
Well, that's it.
What?
Those brushes are old. They shouldn't be. You didn't take care of them.
Why, I did...
Every time you use them, you should wash them out. This one is ruined. Maybe this one I can bring back to life. And look at your palette. A mess. Oh, Mrs. Milholland.
Well, it seems to me George could teach you a few things about your paintings, my dear.
Would you, George?
Why, yes, I'd like to. I hate to see brushes just ruined like this. Now, your paintings. They're good, very good. But look,
What?
those leaves. They're flat and they shouldn't be.
You'd better take lessons, my dear, huh?
George, I'll make a bargain with you. You give me painting lessons, I'll give you singing lessons.
Would you?
You would?
Of course. But
Fine. It's a bargain. Every night after work, you come here. One night we sing, and I teach. Next night we paint.
and I teach.
Well, that sounds fair enough.
I hope I can give my share.
You will.
Tell you what, I'll throw in something else. When I came in, I saw your garden.
Well, George, that's my garden.
Well, the hyacinths are half dead, Mr. Milholland.
What?
And you shouldn't try to grow roses in this climate either.
What?
When I come over nights, I'll tend your garden too.
And so we conclude Chapter 9 of God's Ebony Scientist, the story of George Washington Carver. Stories of Great Christians is produced by the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.